There's Dr. Drew again on CNN about this Casey Anthony's, which is a case that I have known nothing about. I haven't watched the news, so I don't see what this is all about. I'm getting little tiny pieces here and there. But Dr. Drew is on CNN saying that she's got some severe problems. This is a very, very dysfunctional person who needs therapy. Okay, not one person is looking at the reality that this girl has been traumatized. Something has happened to her. Everything is causal. So if she's got any kind of problems, any kind of mental problems, she's got anything going on that's kind of a little off, that a medical community would point a finger and say, you're sick. It's the medical community creating it, because if you would recognize she's been abused. Somebody has caused an awful lot of abuse on her. It's learned behavior. So, I mean, that's the disgusting part is this Dr. Drew. A doctor is going to label somebody that now this person has to fight the labels. And it's like they're saying, "Oh, she's a perpetual liar." Well, wouldn't you? If the whole world, the only way you can survive in this world today is by lying, the only way to function is with a lie, because it's like, oh, if I say two words of the truth, you're not going to listen to the full story of the truth. You only want to listen to part of the truth, which will, you'll interrupt. I know it happens to me all the time, is that, people want an explanation. I know what they want to hear. The explanation would give them what they want to hear, but they don't want to hear my explanation. And if I start explaining something, they misinterpret everything I say. So it's like, it's a lot easier to just lie and tell them what they want to hear, because then you'll back off. Now, it sounds like I have no idea that her child died for 2 weeks. Sounds like she was partying. Yeah, she sounds like she has a disassociated. Anything that is extremely important to you, like if you are a mother that really, really cares about your child and your child is dead, and I mean, the circumstances of how everything happened, if it's so traumatic, you block it out. You block it out as if it didn't even happen, because that pain is just too great for you to feel. So while everybody wants to say that this person is, is no empathy, she wasn't. Who on the universe taught her empathy? Even Dr. Drew, is he showing any empathy towards her at all? No, he's got his friggin' ego doctor. I'm rich. I got TV shows. I know everything about everything in psychology. And yet Dr. Drew has some severe issues himself that he doesn't want to recognize. But he's got the money, so there's the cause of why he's got such a massive ego. He went to school, so they taught him a lot of really bad information, and he's trying to manipulate the world to think that an unhealthy behavior is actually good behavior, where normal natural behavior is actually wrong. And I personally think that is a perfectly natural human response. If my child died, I'd go into shock. I could see myself doing exactly what this girl has done. Mind you, I'm not a partier, like how the pain in my life definitely wasn't as bad as what her pain is. But you can see that with multiple personality disorders. When you can't handle something, when something is so painful, so abusive that you can't handle, you block it out. And then, I mean, when you want to, if you've blocked out a lot of shit, is anything that you're going to live in your own mind. She's telling the truth, according to her, from her mind that's blocking information in and out all the time. She doesn't even know the truth right now, because it's not like she's sick. She's a victim of severe crimes. And yes, it's learned behavior. And yes, if we don't heal her, then yeah, she will turn into another criminal. It will perpetuate and continue. But you'll never ever heal her unless you heal the people that did whatever to her. I mean, as long as what was done to her is acceptable in society, then she feels nobody's listening to her. It is the same story of, a 3-year-old child is sexually abused for like 10 years. The whole life of the child has been sexually abused. And as society, we feel real bad. We don't do anything. We don't offer any help. We do Zippo. We just look at it and say it's really, really bad. And when that child turns, 15, 16 and starts sexually abusing another child, then all of a sudden we hate the child that was abused, because now the abuser is being the abuser. So it's like, that part has never ever made any sense to me, that why would you be so cruel to people that are suffering? And every criminal right now, every criminal on this planet is learned behavior. Somebody taught them how to be a criminal. All of society is creating our criminals. Look at what's his name, Charlie Manson. That guy's a genius. He'll tell you exactly. He's like, you created me. Society created me. And society did not want to take responsibility for the creation of what you made. You just want to sustain it, punish, create more of, instead of healing. There should be no such thing as jail. There should be only a place of healing. If every criminal is actually a victim that's just perpetuating, just repeating it, there technically are no criminals. There are no criminals. They're people that are doing what they've been taught to do. And as society, we have zero interest in trying to teach something completely different. We want to say, let's continue this, like, let's punish the victims all the time, all the time. Let's just keep punishing victims. And then the criminals grow. And then you wonder why it's not safe to live in your neighborhoods. It's like, well, you kind of created it because you didn't want to heal it. So, and this is, again, this holodynamics. Not only has he cured cancer, AIDS, mental illness by curing the causes, you can see this behavior if you study the science. And when you understand that, it's like, oh, we need to change all of our justice system, because, first of all, a judge can't tell the difference between right and wrong. Half of the information that explains her behavior probably never got it into court. There's so much information that I'm sure that girl wanted out, but never got out. So that causes the brain to block things out, because it's like, okay, if society doesn't want to listen to me, then I may as well lie. And I've seen that over and over again. I've seen this with this one girl, whose parents kicked her out, kicked both her and her brother out. She was something like 13 years of age. I had just crashed. I had nothing. I was like, basically, well, me and my daughter had slept in the car a few nights and lived in women's shelter until I found an apartment. As soon as I get my daughter in school, here's this girl that's in school that her parents kicked her out. Very nice, wealthy people. Happen to work very, very well closely with the police department in that area. And this girl perpetually lied, constantly lying. Not somebody that I'd want my daughter to hang around with, but I had invited her to live with us because she was homeless, and there's no way I'm going to see a kid homeless on the streets. But she's lying constantly, and it's like, I can't help you as long as you're lying. Why are you lying? And it took a lot of time, but it basically came down that, well, you don't want to hear the truth, so you want to hear the lie. That's her logical mind, and she's like young at the time. And I said, well, what's the truth? And the truth is that her mother put her and her son, her brother, in a dog cage for something like 12 years. And it wasn't her directly. The mother was a single mother who had to make a living and had to find a babysitter, and found a babysitter that locked them in dog cages for years. As soon as they got dropped off at the babysitter, they were in dog cages. And they told their mom ignored it. So, as far as I'm concerned, the mother basically put her kid in the dog cage because if her kids are saying this is what they do to us, and the mother still sends them at the daycare, then something's a little wrong with that. Now, the deadbeat father was really trying to take that serious because nobody was listening to him. He's an alcoholic and he's not making any good decisions, wasn't really looking after his kids. There was a cause to that, I'm sure, but at the end of the day, with this particular story, he did try to make a big fuss about what was going on in the daycare, but the police didn't want to listen to him because he's an alcoholic and and a deadbeat father and all of this. So he looked like he was not somebody that could be trusted, so nobody even bothered to investigate. And then when I found out, um, I ended up going to the police because it needed to be reported. And the Soy's RCMP, Canadian RCMP, didn't bother investigating. They didn't give a shit. And these two kids were on the street. They look like they're troubled kids. The whole town would say that they are troubled kids. They look like they're caged animals. They act like caged animals. Why? Because they were caged. So it's society wanted them caged because not one person was willing to take these kids in. Um, Not one person decided to look at their behavior and look a little deeper as to, well, why are you behaving this way? What's the cause? What's the root of it? Something is going on. And I found out, but all you had to do was care. But we see these neighborhoods that say, oh, get these kids out of here. Um, they're always looking at kids as being troublemakers. It's like, well, the parents are teaching the kids to be troublemakers, so why don't you get at some of these parents? Or even some of the elected officials, or, I mean, this is coming from so many different areas that, if victims were allowed to speak and get heard, we'd end all crime. But we don't want to listen to victims. We have no interest in fixing any of these problems. And it's not even like the guy that was putting these kids in dog cages. It's like that guy needs some healing, not punishment. Find out what caused him to do that. More than likely, that guy was raised in a cage and just thinks that's the normal way to do things. We all think the way our abuse is, it's normal. So if all of society is agreeing that crime is acceptable, that abuse is acceptable, then why are you saying it's wrong? So it's like thumbs down on Dr. Drew. Like, I just feel so bad after what, somebody that has to go through that much tragedy, a trial, having a Globe watcher that much, like the energy being directed at this girl has to be massive. And it's so negative that it will probably affect her to have even more severe negative problems. Which it's like, don't worry about what it's going to do to her. I'd be worried about what it's going to do to society. Because, trust, without a doubt, if you don't care about her, she ain't going to care about you. And it's like, yeah, she's going to be another criminal. Yeah, because you want her to. She doesn't want to. She wants somebody to listen to her. That's basically all it is to be heard and to say that this is wrong. And then healing begins. Then you can be the solution of your genetic problems, not the continuation of your genetic problems. But all of society is perpetuating all of our problems. Like, everything that has gone wrong is being, society wants it wrong because nobody wants it right. We want to hear the lies. You don't want to hear the truth. You can't handle the truth. Peace out.